Holy guacamole, what a week, and it is only Wednesday. This has been a volatile week for different reasons. But first, on Monday, everything was kind of normal, kind of flat. But then Tuesday was crazy. Everything was down. The S&P 500 was down 2.04%, Dow Jones 1.54%, and the Nasdaq was down 2.46%. Everyone started to talk about the September crash, the huge crash that was long overdue, a crisis, time to panic, time to sell everything, and suddenly today, pre-market hours, we can see that everything is back to green. The S&P 500, the Dow Jones, and the Nasdaq were up by between 0.37% to 0.59%. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about everything that is going on in the stock market, why everything went down yesterday, what am I doing with my portfolio, and what I think is the best thing to do or buy at this moment. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Please consider subscribing and smashing that like button since it really helps the channel out. Also, I have a completely free Discord group chat, which link for that is down in the description below. So let's start with why everything is going down and why it could continue going down for several days, even though it seems like it will recover nicely. We have different news that are helping with the drop, plus everything that we have been talking about Evergrande since last week. First of all, one of the things that worry a lot of people is corporate taxes. And we have seen that top CEOs say they are worried about corporate tax hikes as Democrats push bills aimed at boosting working families. Now, obviously, this is not the reason why stocks are dropping, but it is one of them as it hurts fundamentals as earnings will decrease. Back in 2017, Trump tax legislation lowered the rate from 35% to 21%, and Democrats have proposed raising the corporate tax rate to 26.5% in order to help pay the $3.5 trillion reconciliation bill to tackle U.S. poverty. And obviously, as it affects fundamentals, the stock market will most likely go down hard if that were to get approved in the short term, as again, it affects companies' earnings and current fundamentals. Then we see headlines like Janet Yellen says Treasury could exhaust cash reserves by October 18th if that limit isn't raised. Let me tell you that this is very common to see. This is a constant struggle in the US as they spend more money than what they make, and they basically have kind of a debt limit like we have with our credit cards, but they have the power to push that to take out more debt, just like we can call the bank to increase our card limit. Obviously, one party want to increase it and the other one don't want to, but at the end of the day, they will most likely increase it. They almost always do increase it. Then we also saw that 10-year Treasury yield is climbing according to yesterday's headlines, because it seemed like it is, but then this morning we saw that stocks rebound as 10-year yields run takes a break, which we can see it is actually dropping. Obviously, everyone worries when it goes up, as it going up means inflation fear goes up and stocks go down in fear, but it has been pulling back. Talking about inflation fear, we also saw that Jerome Powell warned Congress that inflation pressure could last longer than expected, as he believes that even though the economic growth has continued to strengthen, there is an upward price pressure caused by supply chain bottlenecks. Still, he expects that inflation will drop back to the 2% goal, but the thing is that people are worried because of how long it will take to get there, and stocks don't like inflation at all. Now, obviously, there are other issues as well, but one of the biggest ones, in my opinion, is Evergrande. I understand that inflation, corporate taxes, and everything is really bad as well for companies as well, but the Evergrande situation is a complicated one that could affect even harder in the coming weeks. I would assume many of you already know what is happening, as I know there are like 20 videos on it on YouTube talking about it. But mainly the biggest thing to worry about is that Evergrande is the second biggest real estate company in China, which is on track to going bankrupt because of the huge amount of debt that they currently have. a lot of people is comparing this situation with 2008, as it could cause a domino effect and a huge drop or crash in the markets as well, even though I believe it is a little bit more regulated nowadays. Because if they go bankrupt, that would affect all the banks and companies that are investing in Evergrande, and most likely would need to sell any of their other investments to cover those losses, causing more selling. Now, there are different possible outcomes. First, the Chinese government could take over the company and basically rescue the company, which is not that possible as it is a private company and they're a communist country, but we never know. The second possible outcome is that many companies help Evergrande and be able to restructure their debt, but Evergrande disclosed about 2 weeks ago that it had made no material progress in its search for investors, but we also saw that some of the lenders, known as trusts, have already dipped into their own pockets to repay wealthy investors on Evergrande's behalf. Others are negotiation payment extension with Evergrande. Still, the last possible outcome is bankruptcy, and obviously almost every investor is taking into consideration the worst outcome, and it is what is causing such a drop in the stocks, plus all the problems that I mentioned in the beginning. Now, it is impossible for me to know if this is the bottom and stocks will recover now or if it will continue dropping. If you ask me, I believe there is room for it to continue dropping. But again, we never know what is going to happen in the short term, as there is so much uncertainty and in the markets, and with this Evergrande situation that could affect the market even harder. I do have to say that the stock market goes down sometimes, and that is completely okay. It is not a problem. It is normal and healthy. I understand that when we see these things happening, the first thing you think about is that you are doing something wrong and that you want to fix a problem. But in my opinion, this is not time to fix anything. I think it is way better to just sit down and do nothing other than hold into your positions. It will be the best outcome than trying to figure out what is happening, why is going wrong, and what you should be doing right now with your investments. If you should sell this or buy that, or what to do. In my opinion, the best thing to do in moments like this is just to wait. Don't even look at your portfolio if you don't want to or you can't invest anymore. You could sell some stocks for a profit if you believe that it will continue dropping. I would not sell for a loss in here. But what will happen if this is the bottom and you sell but you start recovering? I understand that there is a lot of uncertainty and the worst is yet to come. But what I'm doing is just holding right now. I bought a little bit yesterday, but not that much, as I believe there is room for stocks to continue dropping. But I also bought in case they don't continue dropping. As I have said many times, it is impossible for me to know what will happen. I just try to take advantage of it and be cautious, as it can easily continue dropping. Have self-control and do not do anything when it seems that there is a problem or a crash. You can see that by zooming out. In the short term, it looks awful, but if you zoom out, you see that in the long term, the best thing you could do is hold and wait. You gotta buy high quality companies in which you have high confidence. Those companies will grow their earnings, as if you buy them and hold them and they do grow their earnings, their stock will grow as well in the long term. Don't try to guess or time the market, as this is not a gamble. It is simple. If the company does well, the stock will do well as well. If they earn money, you will earn money as well. If you feel the need to do something right now, you could sell for a profit or better hold and do nothing and take advantage of it and invest in a company that you have been wanting to buy before. Just be careful in what you invest and be patient, even though I understand it is really difficult to be patient right now. I expect a lot of volatility in the market, a huge roller coaster, and uncertainty until we get an answer of what is going to happen with corporate taxes, debt limit, Evergrande, inflation, and all that in the short term. Thank you and see you next time.